All right, Ethan, thanks. Right now, we're talking about a recent report from Harrisburg. We told you about Senate Bill 400. It's a bipartisan measure that aims to open Pennsylvania's closed primary elections.
Our Lisa Adams wanted to know what the Democratic and Republican Party chairs here in Erie County think of that idea. She joins us now. Lisa, simply put, what do they think?
Well, good evening. This is Republican Senator Dan Laughlin's bill, along with Democrat Lisa Boscola of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, on the other side of the state. Erie Dems Chair Jim Wirtz is all for the idea of opening up Pennsylvania's primaries in the way that this bill is crafted. Republican Chair, though, Tom Eddy, is against it. He's concerned it might let outsiders pick a party's nominee.
Senate Bill 400 would allow registered voters who are unaffiliated or independent to cast votes on either the Republican or Democratic primary ballot. County Democratic Chair Jim Wirtz is for it. He calls it a clean bill that opens the primary process to about 1.3 million more registered voters.
Because they haven't had a voice in the primary, they don't always feel as strongly about our candidates in November. And so we want to create a space for those folks to have a voice and to participate in that process.
Republican Chair Tom Eddy disagrees.
I don't feel that we should have other people coming in and voting for someone and getting them to represent me that they're not even tied to my philosophy, you might say.
Eddy worries that parties confident of their nominee in a race, even before a primary, may try to tamper with the other party's pick.
If I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I'm not afraid to say that, but I wouldn't want the Cleveland Browns picking my draft choices. You know, because why? They're not always going to pick the best draft choices because they're eventually going to have to play against me, and that's what politics is about.
On that, Wirtz disagrees. He thinks voters are more motivated to vote for who they want in office.
I understand that emotion, but the reality is that the vast majority of people who go to the polls do so to support their candidate and try to further their agenda.
Pennsylvania is one of only 9 states with a completely closed primary. Joe Morris, chair of political science at Mercyhurst University, says with so many voters turned off by partisan politics or unclear on party platforms, the trend is to open primaries, and Pennsylvania is late to the party.
Increasingly, states are moving toward primaries where you do not have to be a member of a political party in order to vote in that party's election. And often you can register to vote on the same day of the primary election. These are things that Pennsylvania just doesn't do.
Yeah, Pennsylvania just doesn't do those things, not yet anyway. Under Senate Bill 400, voters who are registered with a party, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, will continue to be required to vote on their own respective ballots. Argue among yourselves now around the dinner table. One thing we do know, as bills roll through Harrisburg, and it takes time, this will not be acted on, certainly in time for this year's primary election. Stay tuned, though, for 2024. Live in the studio, Lisa Adams, Erie News Now.
We sure will, Lisa.